and welcome to the Chronic Health Collective show. I'm Kristy Boyd Johnson, and we are here at the Chronic Health Collective are not just a community, it's a fresh start for everyone. We've gathered the best coaches and experts to help you reclaim your energy, heal from the inside out, and live with purpose. Whether you're longing for more energy, deeper healing in your relationships, or a life that feels more aligned and fulfilling, you are not alone anymore. Today, I am so delighted to be joined by my three lovely guests, Jessica Hammock, a trauma recovery and transformation coach. Hi, Jessica.
Hi.
Leslie Klein, a domestic abuse advocate. Leslie, welcome.
Hi.
And Amanda Beth Johnson, an intuitive healer and wellness coach. Amanda. And today we are going to be diving into the topic of narcissism, something that is coming more and more into awareness, and we thought we would talk about it today. So let's start with talking about, let's kind of define narcissism for people. And I would like to put one little caveat here is someone can be narcissistic without necessarily being a diagnosed narcissist. I think it's kind of, it's kind of picking hairs or whatever it's called, but splitting hairs, but it's good to know the signs, symptoms, and everything so you can kind of, help yourself before it gets bad. So anybody want to jump in first with what narcissism looks like? Go ahead, Leslie.
Lack of empathy.
That's a big one. So when we say lack of empathy, I think that's a little misunderstood, that because I don't even know if people really know what empathy means, but essentially empathy is being able to understand how another person is feeling and be able to understand that, I said this thing to them and it hurt their feelings. An empathetic person will say, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. I put my foot in my mouth, something like that. A non-empathetic person will be like, well, so get over it.
Exactly. So I think the lack of empathy is not being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes and kind of predict the way that it's going to make them feel.
Yes. What else, folks? Jump right on in.
The constant manipulation, making you always feel like you're confused, you're guilty, you're unsure. And then that twisting the facts so that manipulation of twisting the facts of like, well, I was there and that's not how it happened. And so just really, the constant manipulation.
Yes. Trying to get you to do whatever it is to make them feel better. Yeah, one of the things that has always struck me when it comes to, it's not so much in families, well, it is, but more in maybe romantic or spousal relationships, is the love bombing that comes at the front end of meeting someone new, and the love bombing, like if someone is just throwing compliments and you're the best thing ever, and oh my God, if I'd met you, my life would have been different. That's love bombing. They can't know you yet.
No.
And
I love you very, very quick.
Yes. Typically, like within the first few dates.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Where have you been my whole life?
If I'd met you, my whole life would have been different. I never would have been trapped by all these exes in my life that made me do these things. Yeah. What about the blame game?
Yeah. It's always somebody else's fault. Always, no matter what. If you listen to them long enough, every situation is always someone else's fault. They very, very, very rarely take accountability for anything.
Exactly. So the I know a lot of people know the story of Narcissus, which is where the term narcissism comes from, the Greek myth of Narcissus, who was so enamored of her reflection in the pond that they turned, I forget who it was, turned her into a flower, the narcissus flower, by the pond so that she could look at her reflection forever, because it's all about me and you are just there to serve me. Give her to me. And yeah, so briefly, we've all had experiences, personal firsthand experiences with narcissism. So Leslie, you want to go first? Briefly, just kind of tell us one of your significant encounters.
Sure. So the first realization that I had that I was actually in a narcissistic relationship was the day that he was physically abusive. And so it was but then once I stepped out of it and looked back, the red flags were there. I just missed them. So that whole love is blind definitely was a thing. But yeah, it took physical abuse for me to realize and start researching into the behaviors of a narcissist. And yeah, that was it. So after that episode, it was violent. It was a punch to the face, and he strangled me. And so yeah, that happened on a Thursday. By Wednesday, I was at the attorney's office, and I was like, yeah, I'm not safe here.
Yeah. That's an interesting thing to bring up, and we should go deeper into that a little later. But yes, that abuse doesn't come at the front.
Oh, no.
If it's at the front of the relationship, you'd be out of there so fast.
Absolutely. No, he was my soulmate.
And I'm sure he love bombed you.
Oh, yeah.
You were a perfect woman, like no other. Yes.
Different than all the others.
Yes, of course. Amanda, how about you?
Oh, I think that, to pick one would be really, really difficult, because I think that it becomes a pattern of being socialized that this is okay. And I think that the biggest thing for me is the constant manipulation, being in those relationships where you're manipulated, your facts are twisted, and you're just always questioning yourself, or I don't understand why you would feel that way. So the lack of empathy, those are the things I think that stood out for me as being manipulated, and the refusal to have any understanding of why I would have a problem with this.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then once you realize that you're in these situations, figuring out how you're going to stop it, I think it's just so important. But yeah, for me, it's the manipulation and the lack of empathy that just really, because I think those are two things that me as a character, I don't have. So I don't understand how those people get into my life.
Yeah. For me, I agree with you. Although I did learn something really interesting on that point, Amanda, that narcs don't target other narcs. They target us. They target the kind-hearted, empathetic, sensitive individuals. And at the beginning with the love bombing comes testing to see if you'll go along with what they want. Like, I actually went on a date one time. This was after I'd left my abusive, sociopathic, narcissist ex-husband. And I went on this date with this guy who first he tried to order for me. And when I told the waiter, no, thank you, I prefer to have this, he got upset, and then he calmed down, and then he spent the whole time talking about himself. And then I sat there kind of like, whatever. And then when they asked if we wanted dessert, I said no. And he said, oh yes, you're going to have this. And then he said, so tell me about you. And I didn't get out more than 5 words. And he said, oh, I see how it is. You're a control freak. I said, you know what? Excuse me. I need to go to the ladies' room. And I got up and I left the restaurant. Just left. I'm like, I'm not even going to do this. But that testing of like, can he order for me? Will I back off? Will I take it? Can he dominate? So yeah, that's a red flag. That's definitely a red flag. Hey, Jessica, do you have any other insights into identifying red flags up front?
Well, I will say this. So I like what you said at the beginning about how that there is the term, and I think we use this loosely in a lot of ways. We'll say you're such a narcissist or you act like a narcissist. And there is a clear difference between having narcissistic traits versus having narcissistic personality disorder, like actual diagnosis. And it's dependent on the severity of the symptoms and the amount of symptoms that occur and some of those things. And so but I will also say, I do think, and this is not to diminish any of your experiences either, but just for the general listening audience, to caution people not to just throw that word around either, because there are very strong personalities. When you study personalities out and kind of like this idea of polar opposites, there are personalities that are wired for a challenge and winning that do come across to some people as grandiose and liking that celebration aspect of things, which people who have experienced narcissistic abuse would say, oh, you're just love bombing me. So it's really easy to get in this pattern of saying you're love bombing when somebody might be wired to do big, grandiose celebrations. And so the important thing is to distinguish here is there an ability where humility could come in to be present, where ego is willing to take a step back, where that balance is. And for individuals who have the opposite personality, who tend to be more empathic, receiving, I don't think the intent is, even with true narcissists, to start out looking for a victim or a target. It's like, oh, you have the ability to give love and I need love, because they're so focused on self-love. And to the point where they have the inability to truly be in a loving, reciprocal relationship with other people. And so in the initial, there is an attraction because they desire to receive love, not just from themselves, but everybody else. And when they recognize that there's this aspect of being in a relationship that requires them to have a give back, that's where the traits start to show up that are the abusive things that try to diminish the personality and the capacity of the other person, because now it's perceived as, well, you're not actually giving me what I thought you were going to give me. And so I think it's important that when you're entering in relationships and you're looking for red flags, just because somebody has big, grandiose visions and does things large and likes to celebrate you or show up in a big way, or even, there are groups that like to have that perceived, like, let me order for my lady as a sign of I want to take care of her, right? I think it's when you continue in the relationship and there's pushback, or like in your saying, you continue and there's a diminishing of what's there, instead of saying, oh, I'm so sorry, I just wanted you to know that I'm here to handle taking care of you. Like, so instead of offering judgment immediately based on what you see, be present for a minute to kind of discern, is this person willing to make adjustments and changes for the both of us to benefit? Or are they really only here because they need themselves to benefit from what's happening in the relationship? Because I've seen both occur.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I've actually witnessed couples where one of the couple will order for the other one and the other one accepts it, but it's because the ordering couple says that's what he likes or that's what she loves, and they're giving them what they want, as opposed to, you're going to do what I tell you to do. I think that's the difference.
Right. Yes. Right. But people that have experienced it, whether it was a parent and they were the child on that aspect, or they've had it in another relationship, And honestly, what I see a lot is just they go to TikTok and they use snippets of a scenario or description from TikTok to describe what they think is happening. And they dismiss things before participating in the relationship or discerning really what is the difference here. Because there is some of us, I imagine all of us in the room, might tend to be the kind where we want to spend time with somebody and it's okay if we don't go to a certain restaurant, or it's okay if we go to somebody else's preference. Like we may not have strong preferences in a certain area, and that's okay. And we might sacrifice that. I don't even want to say sacrifice, but say, hey, it's fine wherever we hang out, wherever we go, whatever we do. I just want to be with you, right? Well, to a true narcissist, that feeds on what they already want, right? But to a person that can have personality traits that are like strong in the risk-taking, challenge, winning, leading area, it's not truly that they're narcissists, but it's almost like a false red flag. So you don't want to automatically assume that, because they're going to still be attracted to you because they like that leadership of stepping up, and they come into the room and they assess like, who is my competition? And so they like people beside them that aren't going to challenge them at a competitive level, but more that softer side of things, that healer, that empath, that opposite of who they are. They're attracted to the opposite. So you got to be careful that you don't just assume that those behaviors are ones that are there to take advantage. And so it's important to have that discernment and kind of just really having a good support system to kind of help filter through to like, no, you need to check yourself. Like, this is taking advantage of you, versus like, this is just a personality that seeks to try to serve the relationship.
That's a really good point. And on that note, we're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned. We're going to come back and dive deeper into the topic of narcissism. Be right back.
When you look in the mirror, do you see skin that's just dry, tired, and stressed? It's time for a new ritual. Introducing Deep Love, the blue botanical face cream by Coolness. We've captured their tranquil essence of blue botanicals in a cloud-soft formula that deeply soothes irritation and restores your natural, healthy glow. This isn't just skincare, it's an act of self-care. It's deep love. Find your calm only at coolness.com. Scan the QR code now to visit our website.
She looks like she has it all together, but inside, she's exhausted, disconnected, and asking, is this really it? I'm Amanda Beth. I help visionary women shift from burnout to embodiment, from survival mode to soulful success. Through intuitive healing and aligned strategy, I guide them back to their power so they can lead with clarity, confidence, and calm.
I was floored at how effective and powerful and insightful everything was in this journey. She is amazing, and you should absolutely do it.
This isn't about pushing harder. This is about rising with purpose, prosperity, and peace.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Chronically Healthy Life. Wrong show. The Chronic Health Collective show. And I'm here today with Jessica Hammock, trauma recovery coach, Amanda Beth Johnson, intuitive healer, and Leslie Klein, domestic abuse advocate. And I'm Kristy Boyd Johnson. I'm the founder of the Narc Detox Club. So we had just touched, Jessica, I love that you were talking about discernment, because you're right. People do throw around the term, oh, he's such a narcissist, so fast and so easy. And so, because there's always going to be moments where we have to look after ourselves. That's just the way life is. But we thought what would be fun for the second segment is to play with a little bit of, have a little fun with the way the real narcs behave and some of the things you can expect. So we're going to play a little improv here.
Do it.
All right. So let's have someone jump in and let's have a, like if you're on a romantic date, and someone be the narc and someone be the datee.
I think Kristy, I think you should go ahead and be our narc for us on our. I think you've already set the stage for being a great one. So we just we need you to have
too much experience. Okay. Amanda. We've been on this date for 15 minutes, and I'm a narcissist, and so I'm going to love bomb the crap out of you and tell you that you're the most beautiful, exceptional, intelligent, incredible woman in the universe. There's never been anybody like you. And I'm so glad we met 5 minutes ago at that party, because you're my soulmate. It's so obvious.
Oh, well, my goodness. You just floor me. I don't know how to handle this.
Well, let's see. I think that we should start planning. Like, I definitely want to take you out Saturday night, and then Sunday you have to come to brunch and meet my parents.
But I have other plans already. We just met.
Oh, well, you're going to have to change those, because this is more important. You're going to be coming into my life, and you're going to be making my life so much better with your magical presence. And I really need you there, because, my family, boy, I tell you what, they can be crazy.
So meanwhile, Amanda is getting a call from Leslie, who is also her narcissistic friend. Amanda, your phone is ringing. You decide to go ahead and answer it in the middle of this date, and Leslie is calling, and you're about to tell Leslie about your date.
Oh, hi, Leslie.
Hey, girl.
I'm here with Chris, and well, my gosh, she's just like all over me. She just absolutely loves me, but she really just thinks that I need to drop everything and do everything for her, with her, and always be there. I mean, I've got plans this weekend. I can't be there every day.
You're with me. You're with me. Remember, we're supposed to be going somewhere. And you were going to wear that dress that I picked out for you, remember?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, about that dress. I'm not really sure I could pull it off. I don't have the shoes. I don't have the purse. I don't know that I can really do that.
Oh, you have to. You have to. I bought it. I picked it out for you. It's going to look perfect. We're going to match.
But what do I tell Chris?
Just tell him that I am your best friend. You do everything. We do everything together. Or, you know what? But even better, I'll come. How about that?
I just don't know what to say. I'm floored that you would do that for me.
Oh, girl, I'll be there for you always. We're sisters.
Okay. All right. I'll see you then on Saturday night, and then
you know what?
Then...
Let me talk to Chris.
Okay.
Hi, Chris.
Who's this?
This is Leslie. I'm Amanda's best friend.
Oh, I see. Well, Amanda's making plans with me for this weekend.
We have plans already.
Well, boyfriends overrule girlfriends. So you'll just have to make other plans with Amanda.
We have plans already, Chris. Yes, I've known her for a long time. I've already picked out her dress.
Wait, are you the Leslie that was at that party that we just met at?
That was
You
me.
with the fluffy brown hair?
It was me. Yes.
Oh, I heard Peter and Wendy talking about you. They were saying that you pretty much go through guys like, like a lot. So maybe you should be concerned about your love life.
They're crazy.
I don't know. They were pretty positive. They were naming names. There was Mark and Paul.
Chris, can I talk to Amanda again?
I think Amanda's done talking to you. I think it's time for her to spend time with me. So Amanda, take the phone. Tell her goodbye. Amanda, you're muted.
Amanda's she's having a private conversation.
Amanda,
Yeah.
I'm here. Come to the front door. I came to rescue you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do, but
Just come. I'll come get you.
all right,
please.
all right. I'll be there.
Okay. Okay. Bye.
And at this point, boys and girls, I will head to the restroom and not show up for either of them.
Save yourself.
But here's the thing is I think that's what happens is we find those individuals where it is sometimes covert and it's also, like overt. I mean, but there's some that are covert. Leslie already had planned what she was going to wear. She had already said, I'm coming to get you. I'm taking control. And those are still things that come off sometimes as best friend tactics. And that, my experience was more in that. But anytime that nobody checked on how Amanda was doing. Everybody made decisions for Amanda. Everybody decided what was happening with Amanda. And so it's that time where like it's sometimes easy to pick it up when it's very overt and controlling, but controlling can look a variety of different ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jesse has the cutest little child.
I think that's kind of a big part of not feeling that, I mean, everyone had their best interests at heart for me and deciding what they were going to do about me, for me, what, and how I was going to respond for them.
And super empathetic people tend to have this people pleasing about them. It's this people pleasing behavior. They don't want to upset anybody. They want everything to go smoothly. It's like she was being pulled from both directions and she didn't want to be in either situation. But she was going to sit there. She was going to go one way or the other. And then Amanda would be left with a drained soul and and having to recover with an 8-hour sleep later or something.
The parent, I mean the sibling relationship, the friend relationship can come across like it's looked like a rescue, right? So Amanda has the opportunity to say, hey, I got a call or an intervention, this sense of relief, but Amanda lost her decision-making power in all of this. It was essentially robbed from her. And sometimes what happens is we forget that we have the ability to make a choice in this moment. I mean, Amanda could have chosen to say no to both people. Like, I'm not wearing the dress. She tried to be generous and kind. And that's a lot of times what happens is we want to give those, especially the more subtle forms where we're in the relationship over time. It's not always an instantaneous love bombing. It's not an instantaneous gaslighting or, some of the common terms that are thrown around. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with them, but over time, some people just take over the relationship and decide for other people. And they're not able to know, in that call, Leslie didn't say, oh my gosh, Amanda, are you okay? Like, how can I help you right now? What do you need from me? What does support look like? Do you need me to come get you? She's like, no, you're with me. You're wearing this. I'm coming to get you. I'm taking over. Let me talk to this guy. Challenge meeting challenge. And neither one of them were backing down. And I think that's important to recognize is that it's not always this big, strong personality that still has those traits and tendencies, it is railroading over who the person is and what they have need of, like loss of that person's needs being and wants and desires showing up. And then the person that's participating in it, says, well, I told him I didn't think it was going to be a good idea. And so there is like this little shred of like, I'm voicing what I need, or I'm voicing my thing, and they're still not hearing me. And so a lot of times, because they struggle with boundary setting themselves, they will give in because they don't want the conflict. They'll give in because they would just rather have what they perceive as peace, but they're internally in war within themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and sometimes that lends itself to them doing that so much that when it does turn truly verbally abusive and physically abusive, that they're making excuses and they're covering up for the other person. They have a reason to say, well, it's because this happened, or they were just looking out for me, or they just got a little too angry, or they just had a little too much to drink, or this is just how they were raised. And I just want to say to anybody listening, like, if you are in those situations, please get help immediately. Please reach out for support immediately. You are worth taking care of yourself and being in a safe environment. You, and if you have children or other people that live with you in those circumstances, please reach out for support and do not, subject yourself to those environments. It's important to take care of yourself.
Jessica, didn't you recommend 211.org?
Yeah, 211 is available in any state that you can look for resources without doing a lot of search. So if you have somebody that's monitoring your computer or electronics from that, it's an initial website. Now, depending on how much they monitor your search history, but you can search for a variety of things. So like food support, clothing support, medical support, mental health support, but you can also search for like domestic violence and abuse support, and it'll show you local resources within your area. So if you don't want to just call something, like calling 911 or something, right? You can go on that website and search, and there's a whole lot of search features on there that give geographically for every state.
Excellent. Yes. If you're not safe or your children are not safe, yes, get help immediately. When you're dealing with a true narcissist, one of the things is you're never going to be able to rationally. So let's back up a little, Amanda. So let's go back into the scenario, and let's say you're trying, pick, I don't, however you want to do it, but try to say no. And like, I'm telling you this, she's telling you that, and you want to say no, like maybe you don't feel well, or just flat out don't want to do it. You don't have to not feel well.
So the empowered Amanda would say, Chris, I appreciate you inviting me out to dinner. I've enjoyed this experience, but this is not how I really enjoy my time on a regular basis. This has been great and wonderful, but I just don't think that these kind of demands on my time are going to work.
Yeah, that's good, because they might argue with you, but it deflects that control thing. Mm-hmm. And that for someone who's really narcissistic and not just I love what you said before about the kind of grandiose kind of person that does just want to take care of you. That person would accept that. They'd be like, oh, maybe they would shift and say, oh, well, what would you prefer to do? Maybe another time. Would you like to do something another time? The narc will back off because you're not controllable.
Yeah. And I will say, with any kind of boundary setting, when I work with clients on boundary setting, what I say to them is, you could think of this in 3 parts, because a lot of times they have trouble, like they still want to preserve the other person's dignity or honor and feelings, right? So they tend to land in that zone. So you reflect what you heard so that you're sort of giving them back what you heard. You set the boundary, and then you walk away. So in this case, Amanda's saying, Chris, thanks for being present. I really hear that you would love to order for me and you would love for me to participate in time with you, but that's not how I do my time. And so I politely am going to decline, and we can revisit this at another time. And then she would get up and leave the room. Or she would say to Leslie, Leslie, I know that you picked this dress because you love me and you think you'd look amazing in it. I'd look amazing in it. I'm just going to not wear that. I have another option that I'm willing to wear. And if you want me to go, this is what I'm going to wear. So if that's, if it still works for us to hang out, I will see you on Sunday at the event, and then hang up the phone. And that pattern gives you, like, you reflect what you heard or what they're asking, you state the boundary, you exit the conversation.
This is great. I love this. Moving into the empowerment talk. Okay, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we're going to move deeper into the empowerment of everyone. Stay tuned.
Why do 98% of beauty enthusiasts rave about coolness? It's all in the blend of ancient wisdom and modern science. Introducing Coolness, Pearlescent Face and Eye Serum Cream. This powerhouse combines the antioxidative power of schisandra berries, the glow of pearl powder, and the hydrating wonders of dragon's blood extract. It's like a time machine for your skin, making it radiant, firm, and oh so smooth. Inspired by ancient Chinese traditions and backed by modern nutritional science, this serum cream is perfect for dry, mature, and aging skin. It's time to unlock your inner glow with Coolness. Treat your skin to the best of both worlds today.
The time has come for us, the parents who want more for their children and the teachers who want to love teaching again, to band together and stop the coercion and control and the crazy-making boredom. How? By making learning a joyful experience in a relaxed environment. By supporting and encouraging kids, not forcing or tricking them. Meet Kristy Boyd Johnson and the Barefoot Learning Club membership. Go to www.barefootlearningclub.com and find out more. Together, we can raise a generation of wildly capable and happy kids.
Have you encountered a situation or an event in your life that's caused you to feel stuck? You were on a journey to live your best life, but thoughts and feelings from the past keep showing up and has caused you to feel like you're not headed in the right direction or being the best version of you. Meet Jessica Hammock, trauma recovery and transformation coach. Not only will she teach you about emotional and mental health, she's here to help you unwind the treasure of who you are from the trauma of your past so that you can walk in the truth of your identity and break free from what is holding you back so you're able to nurture the best version of who you're meant to be. The time is now. Let's get started.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Chronic Health Collective show. All right, we are getting deep into empowerment, and we did explore a little bit the dynamics with relationships such as friends and or dating. But one of the things I think that's really difficult for people is when we have a relationship with a family member, a parent, or a sibling where it's family. It's much more difficult, especially a narcissist parent, because we grow up under the umbrella of that narcissist, and we don't know any better until we do know better. So let's talk about that's a big theme in my life right now. People that I love, and myself included, and many people that are friends of mine that have had a narc parent. For me, it was my father. Narc moms. I have several people in my life who had narc moms, and it's a rough gig because of the it's really hard to walk away. So for me, my father was never physically abusive. He was very verbally and emotionally abusive. And it wasn't until I was about 13 years old that I realized, because my mom started standing up to him and he ran away. And when he was gone, it was so very clear how much more peaceful our home was that it all clicked in. Like, wait, we don't have to put up with all that anymore. So I don't know if that's everybody's, it's not everybody's experience, but anybody else have a narc parent that they want to talk about or know someone who does?
I have a narc father. He also is an alcoholic, and I think that is common. So it makes you almost hyper vigilant whenever you're a child. You look a narcissist in the face since birth, and you can almost, like, when he was drinking, I could almost tell just by speaking with him on the phone. I could tell from his first breath that he spoke that he had been drinking. And so it does give you this extra level of discernment when you're out of it. I had to just it was one statement from him, and it was this year. He called me a wounded little, he said, yeah, you're acting like a wounded little girl. And so it hit me. I'm like, wow, who wounds little girls? Yeah. And so he told on himself, even, like his subconscious knows. And so that I just had to form boundaries. So I'm still not on speaking terms with him right now. He would say things like, I'm naive, or, things of that nature whenever, but he's always known, because I'm his daughter, that I have this personality that's strong, that's not going to. And so I think the common misconception is that if you're abused by a narcissistic person, that you're weak or you're timid, or, and you're not. When it's a parent, it's difficult to just draw that boundary and say, you know what, this is not where I see this relationship going. I'm going to put a wall here for now. We'll revisit this later, but we'll do it on my terms.
Yeah. Well, when we grow up, that, then we are able to set boundaries. What makes it difficult as an adult to set the boundaries? For me, for a while, it was this feeling of obligation because he was my father. And it took a lot of working through that for me to get to the point of, I'm important too. And, I don't have to drop everything and rush off to cater to him. And it got better for me after that, because he stopped pressuring me so much. Yeah. So
I would say, I think that it's important to point out for people that, if you're not sure, if you had that parent-child relationship for, maybe you're just learning about this, or just coming into really an in-depth understanding. Kids up until the time they're about 10 or 11 have what we call concrete thinking. They're very black and white. And by nature, they instinctually desire to have love and affection. And so if those things are challenged from a perspective of growing up in that home, and they adjust themselves, they will blame themselves for not being good enough, not doing things right. It develops what we call that hypervigilance, to always adjusting their actions and their emotions in order to believe that they need to be at a certain level to receive love. And that translates into, if you've not worked on it, it translates into adulthood, always blaming yourself for when things go wrong, or other people aren't able to be reciprocal in a relationship with you. And I think that's really important to look at from that healing perspective, and that self-blame perspective is, I tell people all the time, other people's behaviors are a reflection of them, not a reflection of who you are. And so if you can begin to look at these relationships that you have and not absorb all of these things as you get into teenagerhood, young adulthood, even into adulthood, you can't be responsible for everybody's actions. And so if you're still in this space of saying, well, if I had been different, if I had done something different, this wouldn't have happened to me. I just want to challenge that right there and say that's not an accurate truth, and find yourself those people that can help support a different story, that rewrite the story. But that younger version of you needs some TLC, and there's a lot of ways to do that, working with that younger part of yourself and really speaking into her or him and what they need, because that younger version of you, so many of the people that I work with don't realize that we've grown up. And so that version is continuing to show up in a lot of adult relationships and is sometimes attracted to people with narcissistic traits or with the true disorder because they're still looking to resolve those storylines from when they were young.
Mm-hmm.
It feels normal.
Yeah.
It feels familiar.
It does.
And I think that that's a very valid point, Jessica, is that so many times, so many things in our life, we are indoctrined to, we're just socialized that it's normal. So it is only when we get to a point in time in our lives that we have the opportunity to heal, that we then look back and we look at those things and go, gosh, I really wasn't crazy as a kid. I wasn't crazy as whatever. And so, but encouraging everyone to find that place. And like you say, use caution in throwing around those terms of a narc and people being narcissists, because if it's not true or that person doesn't know it themselves, you can get yourself in a really heated debate and create more problems than you had before. And so I think that it's really important to identify where you are, the healing that you need to do, and then the boundaries you need to set so that you're not continuing to involve yourself in people who don't have your best interests at heart.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it doesn't matter whether they really truly are a narcissist or if they're just not a person for you. What their label is doesn't matter. Where they fit in your life does, and they don't.
Right.
So being healthy enough, being strong enough, having those boundaries in place so that you can really set that playing field so that it's level for you. It's not about other people, and it's about taking care of yourself so that then you can take care of those who are in your immediate circle.
And it's amazing how when you start setting those boundaries, how you start attracting better people. I mean, you ladies are a perfect example for me to put up because I basically threw it out there. Would you help me with this show today? And you all just jumped right in. And I didn't have to beg or plead or, promise something. It was just, yeah, let's do this, and I have and will continue to do anything for you guys. And there's other people in my life and in all our lives that we would, we can do that because we can trust that they're going to take care of us, that we take care of each other. And sometimes I need something, sometimes you need something, sometimes, or in my case, my mom, because she lives with me. my 87-year-old child that lives with me. And it's okay. And it's it becomes this beautiful thing when you start honoring what you need and being honest about it, and then people can give back to you.
So I would say, I know we're getting towards the end. I would love for everybody to share either something you've done with a client or you and your personal story, and you don't have to disclose either. What is one thing that you have found really helps in your own survival story or in a client story or a friend story that you're like, if I could give this tool or this recovery piece to somebody else because it's helped me the most, what would that thing be? So Leslie, would you be willing to start?
Sure. So as for me, number one, I had to figure out what were the things that Leslie loves to do, and find those things without anyone else. So it was somewhat of an isolation period. But I think as a woman, as a mother, as a daughter, at the time I was working, I had to step away from everybody else's needs and figure out what Leslie needs to feel whole, to feel loved, and to feel seen, not by anyone else, but for me to see myself. And once I got to that point, being willing to discern and just step away from anything that's not that. And so that's, I think that it's important, what we were talking about. Find that little girl inside of you that needs a hug. Hug her as often as possible and just say, girl, you got this. You're going to be okay. Yeah.
I love that. Kristy, what about you? What would you say would be one or two things that really was when you started to utilize it, or was really a tool that you felt like, oh man, I wish I would have done this earlier or tried this sooner, or I wish everybody knew about?
For me, when I was in the process of waking up to what I was married to, for me it was the detachment. It took a while, but as I detached more and more and stopped reacting, he got crazier because he could see he was losing control. I wasn't aware of that at the time, but it wasn't affecting me. I was just like, okay, whatever. Run off, do whatever, and it's not going to affect me. And I just went about doing whatever it was I was doing. And that detachment became the thing that saved me in the end, because when I did walk out and finally escape that situation, and just so you guys know, I was in mortal fear of being killed at that time when I left. But I was so emotionally detached that I didn't care if I had to live on the street. It didn't come to that, but I didn't care. And so it gave me like this inner strength, because I was so detached emotionally from all his drama that he was trying to create. It just was like, it was over here. It was like watching TV and seeing a tornado in Texas when you live in Canada. It's like, okay, whatever. And so that for me is like emotionally detaching from the drama and not reacting to it and not giving over your power to them. That for me was the number one tool. And it continues to be, because I work in the school system and there's a lot of that kind of control stuff happening there. So being detached helps a lot with just being happy in my day, if nothing else.
Yeah, awesome. Amanda, what about you? Any tools that you use? I know you work with a lot of clients and things. So are there any tools that you find tend to be common, or that you feel like provide the most support?
So theta healing is my primary healing method. And one of the biggest things that I work with people is learning the trust and the safety and where that fear is. But first off, removing that obligation to take care of everyone else. It comes down to the airline stewardess, put your own mask on before you take care of others. And so finding value in yourself and knowing who you are. And so, like I said earlier, being the strongest, healthiest person you can be to make those decisions. And so, yeah, removing the obligation, stop explaining yourself. If you have to explain yourself to somebody, it was like, if you have to ask, the answer. If I have to explain this to you, then, this isn't what we need to be doing. So just kind of reorienting yourself as to where you're at, how you're able to take care of yourself first, putting yourself as a priority to be healthy, to be able to state your values and have your boundaries.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And realizing, to me, I'm sorry to interrupt, but realizing that that's not selfish, that's self-care. It's self-care. You deserve to be cared for as well. And I think when you get to that point, it's like, wow, I just haven't been taking care of me. I got my hair, I got my nails, but inside, inside, there's an inside that needs, that's real self-care.
Ladies, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. This has been an amazing discussion, and I hope our audience benefits from it, especially the discernment. I love that. And Jessica, Leslie, Amanda, you're absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much. And in if today's episode spoke to you, people, don't go it alone. Book your free consult with one of our expert coaches at chronichealthcollective.com for personalized support. Subscribe to our monthly magazine for expert tips from all 11 coaches to elevate your health, mindset, and relationships. Catch us live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time, or watch past episodes anytime on E360 TV or YouTube at the Chronic Health Collective. Thanks for tuning in. Your transformation starts now. See you next week.